Hey guys, Verbal Legend 95, recording live here at Look County Prison Cell, on time this week, and I am bringing to you a fight that, well, we'll just get into it when I say what it is. It's Amity Blight from um, the Owl House, sorry, and Asami from Legends of Korra. Fun fact, this was going to be a Pride Month episode. I think the last Pride Month fight I did was Poison Ivy and Zira, and I think that just barely won out against this. And I figured I'd rather do it now than wait like a whole year and be like shoehorned into it. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with Amity. So Amity is she is a witch from the Boiling Isles. She's a student, and she is the daughter of, I don't actually know their names. But the her family essentially is I guess essentially a weapons company. Now that I think about it, like, because her dad is an inventor, and her mom and her dad both use well, I don't know if both of them use. Her dad uses abomination magic. So in the Owl House, there's several different categories of magic, and one of them is abomination magic. Now, generally, abominations are made from just like clay, I think is what they said it was. It might be like it's usually like purple goop, but it's supposedly clay, and sometimes it's like, I think there have been cases where they've used other materials for it, and I don't know if it's a specially made clay or if it's like naturally occurring, though we have seen people like seemingly pull it from the ground, so you could argue maybe they can use clay from like the earth. I don't know. But Amity is a prodigy of this type of magic. She's exceptionally good at it. She's fought off multiple different wizards. She's won a tournament, like a magic battle royal not battle royal, but like a magic. I think she has won a battle royal, but she won like a magic like a fighting tournament essentially using this magic. She went through what was it? She went through, yeah, she's done like a whole myriad of things with this, and part of that, like, her magic lets her essentially, it's not just creating abominations, she actually manipulates this clay pretty much however she wants. She can turn it into the creatures known as abominations, obviously, which are just dudes made out of clay that just attack you, right? She can kind of like lash people with it. She can wrap people up with it. She's turned it into blades. She's turned it into like gauntlets that she's even fired out like rockets basically. She's wrapped herself with it. She's done it's basically completely under her control whenever she uses it, right? Which is not too dissimilar from, bending in the Legend of Korra universe, but we'll get into that later. And then she also has her palisman, which is like a sentient living creature that gets turned into the head of her staff, which can like come to life and whatnot, right? Her name's Ghost. It's a cat. She can either, now with the staff, she has used it just like as a staff to fight before, but she can also fly on it, and she's very proficient at it because in her fight with Hunter, where he fired like essentially lightning bolts at her, she was able to avoid them midair. Now these were lightning bolts that didn't behave, like they didn't like strike in the same way lightning strikes. They could have just been energy blasts or something, but they had like a set trajectory and they, bounced off of stuff, but that could arguably make it, more impressive on her end. Yeah, I mean, like, it's because the show didn't last very long, it's hard to come up with, like, set, it's hard to really remember any set feats or set, like, accomplishments of hers, but yeah, she is an integral part of the show, I will say that, and I think that's, not to derail the conversation here, but, I think that's the thing a lot of people miss with death battle matchups, is, like, they get too focused with, um, similarities in theming, and I'm guilty of this sometimes, that they don't take into consideration the individual characters. Like, if you like the individual characters, or if the individual characters are, like, significant and, like, wield a weight, you know what I mean, to their character, then the matchup is going to be better. That's just how I feel about it. Like look at, like, instead of looking at Amity and Asami as, like, okay, what do they have in common? It's like, look at Amity and why she's important to the Owl House, and, like, why she's a the character that she is, and, like, what she's done, and what, right? And then look at Asami and look at why she's important to Legend of Korra, and, like, her character and her accomplishments, and what, like, her symbolic value to the show is, right? Then look at comparing them, right? When you look at the individual, when you make the individual characters important, you make the matchup important. That's just how I feel. Anyway, but yeah, so that's Amity Blight. A lot of similarities to, as I said, Asami, who is the daughter of a I believe it's like an industrial, like, empire, like a large industrial company family, where they produced a lot of just, like, technology, but they produced a lot of specifically anti-bending technology, um, to fight benders, I believe. I might be mixing that up, because there was her family did that, but then she also, like, they also had just an unrelated cast of people who did that. Yeah, no, they definitely did, because she had the glove that Amon and stuff had, right? Yeah. So yeah, and she was trained from basically the time she could walk in self-defense and martial arts, because her mother was killed by a bender, and her father didn't want his daughter to be victimized, so he bought her the best teachers that money could buy, and had her train train basically her entire life. And yeah, and she became a badass. She's fought off armed guards. She's again using that same glove that I mentioned, which is just a gauntlet that has a thing on the palm that electrocutes people, and this is capable of just, like, knocking people out in one hit. And yeah, she's fought off, like, several armed guards. She's one time she was chained to in an airship. She was, like, chained to a pipe in one of the rooms, and she ripped it off the wall and then knocked a dude out with the pipe. It was really bad. Like, she's a certified badass. She's also a very smart and strategic character. She's a genius level engineer. She's a great pilot. Like, she's got a lot going for her. And again, like, she's not just Korra's girlfriend. She's a significant part of the story, and the different character growths, and the overall arc and everything. And yeah, I think makes, especially this fight, not especially this fight, but, like, that makes this fight no exception, so much better when you, like, respect the guy. And that's what I think Death Battle does a good job of, is, like, making the characters that they have in a death battle important, pretty much. But yeah, getting into the actual fight here. So right off the bat, Asami definitely has a physical advantage. First of all, I don't know if maybe it's just an art style. I guess these two would be around proportionate height. I think Asami is older, but, like, these two would probably be around proportionate height, I think. Even though in the art style of Owl House, all the kids are drawn to be, like, tiny, but are they actually, like, children? Aren't they, like, 12 or 13 or something? I don't know. But Asami would have, like, definitely have a physical advantage, right? Because she like I said, is trained in martial arts her entire life. She's disabled like armed guards, and fought them off countlessly. She's fought off bandits. She's fought off. I think she's even beaten benders at some point. And honestly, that's how she'd probably see Amity. She'd see her like manipulating the clay and everything, and think she's an earthbender. But that glove would, again, it's shown to just like knock people out in one hit. That would do that to Amity. But that's where her advantages, I think, end. Yes, she has a lot of more fighting experience, but Amity, when you compare the people she's like Asami's fought to the people Amity's fought, it's really no contest. And Amity's magic is not only much more powerful, much more versatile, but it's also like it does an incredible job of completely nullifying Asami's advantages by being able to keep Asami like at a distance the entire fight, not to mention being able to fly on a staff, fast enough to dodge energy blasts, like that's definitely going to give her a mobility advantage, which is going to pretty much stop anything Asami can do. I will say both of these characters have, by coincidence, piloted mechs. Asami's being more of a steampunk mech, and Amity being more, not really a mech, but Amity's being more of like an abomination suit per se. Yeah, and like even if so like Amity carries a jar of the magic of the clay with her. She carries like a vial of it so that she can always use it, right? Even if we scale her down to say that's the only clay she's gonna get the whole fight, and like there's not gonna be any on the ground, which would be kind of stupid because you'd be like handicapping the character. So I don't think they would do that. They'd probably let her use it from the ground around her if she is able to do that. She's still like, she could easily be like using it to grab Asami's leg, using it to like tie her up, firing projectiles at her, making henchmen to fight her and stuff like that. Like it's not really something like Asami can prepare for, especially because even though I said that she would probably see Amity as a bender, there's some key differences. Bending is just so much more limited in most of its application. It's arguably a lot more powerful than a lot of the magic in Owl House, but like it's so much more limited in how people utilize it, that I don't think Asami's ready for that level of earthbending, quote unquote. And I don't, and like it's also very telegraphed bending, because like you have to be a specific state of mind, you have to have specific movements, you have to, right? Like if you're a martial artist, you can study those, recognize those, and like counter them. But like pretty much all Amity needs with her magic is like at most the ability to draw a circle in the air. Like that's like, and she's done things without even doing that. And Amity's, I know I said, Asami is a great fighter and a great, strategist and everything, but like Amity's not bad either. She was the top student for a reason, and like in her fight with Hunter, like she's shown that she's able to like basically launch attacks from nowhere, like when he had her hand pinned to the wall and then she just like sprung a blade made of clay out at him and kind of had him at a standstill until he said, "I'm gonna hunt you or your girlfriend down until, if you don't let me, give me the key," right? Yeah, so I mean, I think this fight goes to Amity. I mean, I don't see really a way that Asami, like, they would, I think Asami's only equipment that she has is that glove with the shock thing, right? Other than stuff that she's like found, like the mech suits and whatnot. I think it would be very Death Battle-esque to allow her to use the mech suit. I feel like if she gets to use the mech suit that she randomly found in, I think it was her family's company's warehouse or something, I think it's fair that Amity's family, abomination robot golem thing gets to be, that Amity can control, gets to be used. So, yeah, I mean, that would make the fight a lot more entertaining, but, like, I don't think that changes any of the implications. I just think that Amity is just perfectly positioned to beat Asami, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Anyway, good fight. Week to week, these are becoming harder to think about which ones I want to do. Anyway, Verbal Legend 95. So yeah.